Hi, everybody, wherever you may be. There's me on one side, me on the other side, and it's not supposed to be that way because we just had a problem. It says video file not found. That's the beginning of the show. What do you mean you can't find it? It's got to be there. My goodness. Well, see, I deleted lots of stuff from my computer, and all of a sudden it went nuts. So, anyway, hi, everybody, wherever you may be from coast to coast and sea to shining sea. That's double me. You're going to meet David Moreno here shortly. We'd like to welcome the folks from Massachusetts, California, Nevada is here. Hello to North Carolina, Tennessee, Saskatchewan, Texas, Florida, Louisiana, the state of Utah, California, Oregon is here. We've got Washington here, and we've got an amazing man who I think the absolute world of. He's a friend, and I told him earlier, I don't think this show would exist without him. I really don't. There he is, everybody. Sergeant David Moreno from Utah Highway Patrol. Welcome. Yeah. Doesn't he look good? He looks sharp. Dude looks sharp, man. He does.
I'm on 2 hours of sleep.
Oh, check it out. Now there's 3 of me. I'm going to get rid of that meeting. There we go. 2 hours of sleep. Sounds like me. Last night, that was my night too. We should have been texting. We should have been texting each other. We could have did trivia or something. I don't know. How are you?
I'm great. I'm hanging in there. How about you?
Good. You know, it's been 2 years since we had you last on.
It's been that long?
2 years, man. Yeah.
2 years.
Been
Wow.
a long time. South Carolina is here, saying welcome. Carrie 2970 from Massachusetts. Hello, Sergeant Moreno. Thank you, sir. That's pretty cool. Brendan
Awesome.
King from the Valley of the Sun in the Phoenix area says, hello, Sergeant Moreno. Lee Terry from Tennessee, thank you for being here, Officer Moreno. The thank yous are everywhere, everywhere. I want to get to one of them that was really cool. I loved this one. Let me find it real quick. I'm scrolling through all of them. And it's really neat when someone says this about one of the guests. Here we go. Kathy Plass. She says, so happy to see Sergeant Moreno, one of my faves.
Oh.
Isn't that
Who was
cool?
that, Kathy?
Kathy Plass. Yep.
Thank you,
now,
Kathy.
in the old days,
Appreciate that.
In the old days, she went by Cat Plass. So it's hard for me to, not get it straightened out sometimes. Anyway.
Where's she from?
I believe she's from one of the Carolinas. I think it's South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So a little ways away from you. But we are grateful you're here. Judy Rich puts it the best. Hello and thank you for your service and stay safe. That's pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
How are things going in Utah with COVID-19? Talk to us about what it's like to be a trooper in these times and also how life is going, trying to enforce the law, but also trying to stay safe.
Yeah. I mean, it's really affected our state. I mean, obviously, not as bad as other states, but it has. I mean, I can tell the difference out there when I'm patrolling the streets. We see a lot more, we see less traffic, but we see people that are just driving so much faster nowadays because they have so much room to just take up speed. And I work on I-15, which is one of the major highways in Utah. It starts down in San Diego and it goes all the way up to Canada. So, I stay on I-15 a lot, and I work probably about 7 lanes of traffic, northbound and southbound. So there's a lot of space, and people just picking up their speeds a lot. And it's normal for me to be clocking people going 100 miles per hour.
Oh my gosh!
And it's sad because I don't want to enforce the law, and I don't I want people to have their money and keep their money because it's hard times right now. And the last thing I want to do is give somebody a ticket and that they have to pay to the court. So I just rather have them just keep their money. So
Sure.
I just wish people would just motorists would just obey the speed limits and just don't put us in that situation where we have to enforce the law. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be really tough because you have a job to do at that point. It's public safety.
You do.
Yeah.
You can't ignore people going that fast, and because we're there to save people's lives. And when we pull somebody over that's 100 or over, I mean, we feel like we're saving their life.
Yes, 100 miles an hour. My brother Bob, who you know,
Yeah, I know Bob.
loves police chases. Now, at night, because I know he really likes that stuff, we'll go on YouTube, we'll find police chases. We found one from a couple years ago in LA where the guy was in a Lexus. He was doing 120 miles an hour on a crowded freeway going in and out of traffic. And I just almost couldn't watch it because I was thinking, we're going to see someone get killed here. You
Oh
know,
man.
there's no place for it.
No, it's sad.
Got to
And
be
we've seen a lot
careful.
of fatalities because of this on the highways. Last week we had about three of them. Just
Oh,
speeds
man.
were just the major contributing factor, and it's just sad because you don't want to see that, and you hope that people would just pay attention and reduce their speeds. But some people just won't, and it's sad.
Well, I like what you said. You're saving their life, could be saving their life. Good point. Let's get to some comments. Karen White. Hello, Sergeant Moreno. Karen is one of our followers, listeners, and
Oh,
watchers.
nice.
Judy
Hello.
Rich. Hello, and thank you for your service and stay safe.
Thank you.
Karen White says the same thing. Thank you so much for your service. Jill Bamai from Canada says, do you have all access to proper PPEs and do you use it?
We do. We have a lot of masks and gloves, so sanitizers. We have it all in our vehicles, in our patrol vehicles, and we use it all the time. So that's the way to do it. We got to take these kind of precautions.
Yeah. Yeah. We had last week a wonderful guest that had mentioned, in fact, it was Inspector Soroka from East Providence. Good guy, amazing friend. You guys should be friends. Seriously, you and him
We're friends on Facebook, so yeah.
You need to reach out to him because
I will.
he is like you. You're very similar in personality, very much on morals and values, and you're really friendly people. You two would just get along like peas in a pod.
I
He
got to go
said,
over there and visit him.
yeah, oh yeah, he's just a great guy, great family too. You guys both have families about the same age. But he said,
Nice.
they're not stopping cars for general violations now. Like if a license plate's out or maybe a tail light
Yeah.
or whatever, they'll let them go. But if they're doing something stupid, like, going too fast, going through stoplights, doing something they shouldn't do, then they have to do it. And if they do it, then they're frustrated because they got to, get close to these people and
Exactly.
talk to them. And they don't know if they're sick or not.
I know that's how it is here in Utah too. That's the way we've been doing things. I mean, it has to be something really outrageous for me to
Excuse me.
come after you, and I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
So, because at the end of the day, I know people are struggling out there. There's people that can't make their payments, their mortgage payments, and their rent, and how they're going to pay for all that. And the last thing they need is for an officer to pull them over and give them a ticket, a fine, and we don't want to be put in that situation. But at the same time, if we don't do that, then it's going to be chaos out there, and people are going to be driving like crazy, and and we see it. We see people die because of their speed.
Yeah. Yeah. Live with Trooper Sergeant David Moreno from the state of Utah. Phone numbers on the screen. If you can't see it, the phone number to call in and speak with him live, 503-420-4062. That's 503-420-4062. Jill Bamai, her question, how has this changed the way you do things as a department, meaning COVID-19?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, it has to be something really dangerous for us to actually do something and pull you over on the freeways. Because at the end of the day, we want to keep people safe, and that's the bottom line. Um, I don't want to give you a ticket. I just don't want to. The other day, I pulled somebody over that was going too fast, and it was a refugee from Africa. Actually, we have a huge refugee community here in Utah. People from Africa, from Iran, from Iraq, they come here, they settle here in Utah. And this guy opened up his own business, and he's got a local restaurant here in Utah. And I pulled him over, and as I was talking to him, I asked him, where he was going. He was going to work, but he was telling me that he has a payroll of about $30,000, and he had to lay off all his employees, and that just kills you. I mean, that just really broke my heart because a lot of people depended on this restaurant, and now they don't have jobs, and he doesn't know how he's going to pay the loan that he has, or how he's going to make money. So
Oh,
and here I am pulling him over, but I didn't give him a ticket or anything. But it's just sad. I mean, you hear stories like that every single day from people, and
Yeah.
it just breaks your heart because they're really struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm considered an essential employee, and I get to go to work, and I get to make money, and I get to have a steady paycheck. But there's people out there that just don't know how they're going to make it, especially small business owners. I mean, they just can't survive, and then they have all these employees that they have to lay off, and
Yeah.
there's just a lot of people struggling right now in society. So I just, you just feel bad.
Different world out there for sure. Yep. Different world for sure. Live with Sergeant Trooper David Moreno from Utah Highway Patrol. Cat Plass asks, are citizens treating law enforcement better during this pandemic?
Mm, I mean, we don't really have that much interaction with them. I mean, to be honest with you, it's less. Before, I used to talk to people all the time, every day, and now it's very limited. So I can't really gauge if people are nicer or not. I mean, we pull them over when they're doing something outrageous or they're breaking the law, but we just don't have that much interaction right now with people to see if they're being nicer or if they're not.
Yeah.
At least not in my situation. I just can't gauge that.
So for those of you in the state of Utah, watch your P's and Q's if you are on Interstate 15. Just saying.
That's right. That's right.
Trooper
Or
Moreno's on the
215 or
track.
I-80. We have a lot of freeways here.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You got a lot of freeways there, and it's a growing area. I mean, boy, Salt Lake City, that whole area has grown so much. And the interesting part about it is that a lot of people don't realize just how big it is and how expansive the Salt Lake City metro area is. It is pretty amazing. Trying to get this light to stop making this on us here. Great question from Jill Bamai. And this came up last week too, when we had Inspector Soroka on. And that's what I was trying to remember. Has anyone used COVID-19 as an excuse to get out of something?
Have they?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, they try. I mean, they tell you. I mean, they do. But, I'm wearing a mask and I'm wearing gloves and stuff like that. So it doesn't really prohibits me from taking action or anything. But, yeah, they do try it.
Okay, well, here we go. Inspector Craig Soroka is on the show.
Hey.
He says, Sergeant Moreno, East Providence checking in. My brother lives in Utah. I'll text you his plates. Feel free
Oh, no way.
to take him into custody any chance you get.
I'll be more than happy to do that.
That's awesome. See, both of you guys would be like peas in a pod. It would be so fun to see the two of you together, like when you and Danny got together in Las Vegas.
Oh,
Officer
yeah.
George
Danny and I had a great time.
Oh, it was a great picture of you guys. That was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. I got to hang out with him for a little bit in Las Vegas. It was awesome.
You guys had a great time there, didn't you?
We did. We got to hang out. We got to talk about live PD, and it was pretty awesome. It was a good moment.
Both on season 1, show 1. Both.
It was me, Danny, and Sticks, and a couple other officers. It was so awesome. I remember those days. It was unbelievable because we didn't know what was going to happen or how America was going to, take off with this show. I mean, we were just all wondering how it was going to go.
Yep. So, folks, you're talking to a real legend here. He was on show number 1 of Live PD. It's a true story right there.
I remember that. I remember the first show. The week before we did our first show, we had to do a practice show. And not a lot of people knew that. And I remember going out on patrol, and we started recording, and I didn't know how it was going to be. And it was all just a practice show. And then I could hear Dan Abrams in the studio talking about me. And I was like, who is that guy? I could hear him on the mics. And I'm like, who is that guy talking in New York? I wonder who that Dan guy is.
That's funny. I'm going to try and just move you only onto the screen here because, to be quite honest, I'd rather have it that way. It'd be better. There we go. Much better.
Hey, I don't see you now.
That's the whole point. My camera keeps on having a hard time with the light behind me. I'd rather not have it be a distraction for everybody because this is so important that we have you on. Means a lot. Officer George Ishak, Fremont, California. If anyone was to tell you to be a special guest on a game show, would you do something like that? And if so, what game show would be maybe something you might want to go on to?
Yes, I would do that. And it would probably be something like Gladiator, like something like that, something physical, because I'm not very bright.
Yes, you are. Don't do that. Come
So I wouldn't be
on.
able to do like Wheel of Fortune, but I would definitely do something like, something physical.
Yeah. Well, you got a good body for that. You do. You got a good body for that. Carrie 2970 asks from the state of Massachusetts, how's married life?
It's good. It's good. I mean, it's awesome. I couldn't be happier. I got little Matthias, my little son. He's turning 2. We're thinking about doing a birthday party actually, but we don't know what's gonna happen with this COVID-19. So we're just hanging on, and hopefully he'll have a nice birthday party.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of people are holding off, even graduates,
Oh
now
man.
school's off and they've worked all these years to graduate and there's no graduation. So it's really tough. It can be
I
really
feel so
tough.
bad for all the seniors that are going through this right now. That their last few months in high school, it was just taken away from them, and you just got to feel for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
Lee Terry asks from Tennessee, can you tell us about your agency's canines?
we got about 11 dogs in our department. They're all over the place in Utah. We got them in southern Utah, northern Utah, and Salt Lake. We have a couple explosive dogs that work the Capitol Security Detail. And then they focus mainly on criminal interdiction and intercepting a lot of shipments of narcotics on our interstates. And they're just really cool. I used to be a canine handler, so I just love dogs.
I didn't know that. How long were you a canine handler?
I did it for a couple years. I had a canine named Rambo back in the day.
Rambo.
Rambo. It was back in 2006. Holy cow.
Wow. How long
It's
have you
been a long
been
time.
how long have you been in law enforcement now?
This year is going to be my last year. So
What?
20 years.
What?
I'm going to be retiring soon.
Really?
Are
Oh
those
my gosh.
are people clapping?
No, they're not clapping about that. They're clapping about the fact you got 20 years in.
20
My
years. I
gosh.
can retire at the end of the year.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Kathy Plass asks, any chances of y'all coming back to live PD, you think?
I'm not sure. We haven't really talked about it. At least I don't know. I don't know. There's just so many agencies out there. I mean, there's been so many of them. Some do come back, others don't. We just don't know. We did it about 3 times though.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You
we
did.
started at the beginning, and then we did another session, and then we did another session. So we done it about 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Well,
it's
that's
it's been a lot
enough.
of fun.
It changed a lot. Changed a lot of what you guys did, how you did it a little bit. Not so much how you did. I shouldn't say that. But in terms of having someone next to you, kind of talking to them, I bet you that felt kind of nice at times.
It does. Let me tell you guys a story about the first show. Can
All
I
right.
can I share something with you guys?
Heck yeah. Go for it.
So I remember the first show, and we were doing a live show, and I didn't know what was going on. And I had a really nice producer from Indiana. Her name is Jen, and she's still with IPD. She's awesome. And I remember Jen. I made a traffic stop, and I remember Jen. She was there on scene, and she was supposed to come out with me and just stay behind and not be on camera's view. But then you can't ignore the fact that she's there somewhere hiding.
Yeah.
And I'm making a traffic stop. I'm about to arrest someone, and I see her out of the corner of my eye making an L like this. And I'm thinking, why is she calling me a loser?
Loser.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm about to make an arrest, and this is gonna be on the show. This is gonna be awesome, and people are gonna love this. And then she starts doing it again, and she's doing this.
For
And
live.
I'm like, all right. And I'm thinking she's playing with my head. I'm thinking, oh, should I just let this guy go? What am I supposed to do? And then I'm confused. And then she does it again, and she's doing this. And I'm like, okay. So I just go with it, and I said, well, I'll just ask her later. So right after I make an arrest, and they go to another city, I say, Jen, what's going on? And she's like, I was telling you that we were live. I was like, oh crap! I thought you were calling me a loser. But she was
That's
telling
great.
me that we were going live. L
Oh,
that the
that's
cameras were on
great.
me live, PD.
That's great.
But I didn't know. I thought she was really calling me like a loser. Like, get out of here. Go do something better.
You are not getting back in my car. Not going to happen.
Yeah, it was hilarious. There was a lot of little things like that when we first started those first couple shows that we were just like, okay, got it. Won't happen again. I
Yeah,
know what you mean now.
I bet. Oh my gosh. We're live with original live PD hero, Trooper Sergeant Dave Moreno from Utah Highway Patrol. Jill Bamai asks, what's your favorite part about being in law enforcement?
Favorite parts. Just the interaction with people, and you get to meet a lot of strangers every single day. A lot of people that you just you check on duty and you don't know what the day's going to hold, and you just go out there and you meet just so many people from so many walks of life. And with us at the highway patrol, we pull them over and we have just about 10-15 minutes to interact with them during the traffic stop. Sometimes you take enforcement action, sometimes you give them a warning, sometimes you just do education. And you just get to talk to people and just ask them small talk, just ask them little questions. Where are you going? What are you doing? What made you do this? And you just get to really get to know people's lives during that short amount of time.
Sure.
And you really have an impact. And a lot of times you make an arrest, and you have more of a chance to make an impact on them. And I try to tell people sometimes that maybe this is the bottom. They hit rock bottom with me right now at this moment, and the only way that they can go up is just going up now. Everything should be fine from now. It's time maybe for you to go to rehab, or stop your addictions, or stop doing what you're doing. And you feel like you really impact people's lives sometimes, and then you really help them out. And I think
Wow.
that's really neat that you can be put in that situation where you can change people's behaviors and change people's lives.
Well, I think it's nice that you actually think that way. That's what I love about you. That's what I was saying. You and Inspector Soroka would be amazing friends. Excuse me. Got a little, got something in my throat here. Hang on a second. Sorry. There. Again.
I got some soda.
Do you? Got a little in my throat, Oh, sorry. Okay. No, I was saying to Inspector Soroka, he's such a good guy. You guys would be such good friends, about the same age. Just,
Yeah.
he's just such a nice guy. You guys would do well. You both think that way. You really do. You both have good heads on your shoulders. I love that part. Lee Terry, question, do you have any pets?
I do. I have a little Chihuahua dog.
There you go. What's his name?
Marshmallow. He's all
Marsh.
white.
Oh, that's awesome. Inspector Soroka's laughing in the background. There you go.
Oh, is he there?
Yep, he's still here.
I'm going to reach out to him. I got him on Facebook. I'm going to send him a message so we can get together.
All right. Inspector Soroka, can I give him your private phone number? Is that okay? Let me know if I can, because he's a good guy. This guy, you guys would be such good friends. Nicole Crum says, yep. Public awareness now requires us to wear masks in public outside starting this week. Sorry, that's in Pennsylvania. Now requiring everybody to wear masks outside. So listen to your leaders. Listen to your leaders, okay? Very important. Have you had a lot of problem there with people not listening to the governor of Utah's rule to shelter in home, no park, no, don't go into the parks, don't go do this stuff? Have they closed the 5 state parks in Utah? I mean, 5 national parks?
Yes, we have. Yes. We've closed them down. Yeah, obviously you have your knuckleheads out there that just won't listen. And, you have to go out there, and, sometimes you see the parks that are kind of full, or, other places where they gather, and you just got to go in there and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And, and they listen. People listen. But we do have some people that just don't follow it like they should.
Yeah.
And we have to step in sometimes and tell them to go home, or, keep their distance.
Yeah. The state with the most national parks, Utah.
Yeah, we got 5 beautiful ones.
Yep.
You come and visit them.
Arches is stunning. Absolutely stunning. That was a
Science.
beautiful, beautiful thing to
Science
see.
too.
Carrie 2970, I didn't make it till halfway to season 3. I used to go out Friday and Saturday nights till my favorite place closed, LOL. But she's really honored to meet you, and she wanted to make sure you knew that. Okay?
Oh, who's this?
That's Carrie 2970. She's from the
Carrie.
state of Massachusetts.
Awesome. Thank you,
So,
Carrie.
yeah, she never saw you live, but she is honored to meet you now, knowing you were on show number 1. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Inspector Soroka says, "Thank you for paving the way. I did
Oh,
not know that. Pretty cool.
yeah,
Haha.
a lot of people don't
Practice
know
show. That's awesome. LOLOL."
that. I remember when they first came out, when I did my first Skype interview with Live PD. You know, before the show even started, they did a pre-screening of some of the officers that were going to be on the show, so they could get to know us a little bit better. And I remember talking to them maybe about a month before we went live with the very first show, and it was such a wonderful experience. They're so awesome, great people. I mean, Big Fish Entertainment, they're pretty cool people to work with, and A&E is also pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
it was a blessing for the very beginning. I remember thinking it was just going to be 8 shows, and I remember coming out of that meeting with Big Fish and A&E thinking, I better not screw up because it's going to be live on national television and you can't fix it. So it was a lot of pressure.
You did a
And then,
great job, man. And then you were also in New York City, weren't you? Yeah.
yeah, I got to be in the studio. That was an honor too.
Did they meet you with like a police car to take you to your hotel?
Yeah, they really take care of you. I mean, they don't. No, it's not a police car, but they do have an Uber, a taxi kind of service that
Nice.
they provide, and they come pick you up and they take you to the hotel, and it's
That's
just
cool.
really neat. It's really neat.
That is so cool. We've got a phone call for you here. Just a second. Hi, you're live with Sergeant David Moreno of the Utah Highway Patrol. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Larry, I had to call in.
This is Inspector Craig Soroka from East Providence, Rhode Island, everybody.
Hey, Craig.
First of all, Sarge, that's a cat. I don't think he has a dog.
What did you say?
That's a cat.
A chihuahua is a cat. It's not a dog. Oh, no.
I wanted to say, again, thank you for paving the way. And that's pretty awesome. I had no idea that he was one of the first ones. Because I didn't start watching it until it was in Warwick. And that's pretty cool. Totally appreciate it. Congratulations on the 20 years coming up.
Thank you, Craig. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I was on the very first show, very first one.
Yep,
It's pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing, isn't it? And then, Inspector Soroka, you guys are on season 3, right?
Yes. Yep. And yeah. And every time I'm on it, I don't know about the sergeant, but every time I was on it, I was nervous. Every single episode. How was he on every episode? Was it the same feeling?
He wants to know if it was the same feeling for you. He said that when he was on the show, he was really nervous every time he was on camera. Did you have the same feeling?
I did. I think everybody does. I mean, because you don't want to screw up. That's the last thing you want to do on national television. You don't want to mess up, and because there's no retakes, so you can't fix it. So you're nervous. I mean, you know, you just got to pay close attention to what you're doing too, and you just don't really want to screw up, and because you know that's a lot of responsibility. You're representing everybody in your departments. I mean, not just yourself, but you know, Utah Highway Patrol, we got about 600 officers here, and you know, you got to be mindful of them, that you're representing all of them, not just yourself. So yeah, it's a lot of pressure to have.
There you go, Inspector Soroka.
Yeah, he's 100% correct.
Yep.
You are representing a lot of people, and it's nerve-wracking. And I just thought it was me because I tell somebody, no, I'm nervous. They're like, well, you don't look nervous. Well, I am nervous, and I can feel it, but it's not just me. So again, congratulations on the 20 years, and it's a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, same with you, Craig. We got to get together, man. I got to get your number. I follow you on Facebook, and you got an awesome family, really cute family, but we got to get together.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe I'll go visit you, or maybe you come over here.
There you go.
Absolutely. Stay
Come,
safe.
hold on, Inspector Soroka, to the show, okay? I'm going to ask David something that I think you'll be very interested in hearing, okay?
Sure.
All right, my friend. Thanks for calling. Have a good day, and thanks for being a part of the show. You're awesome. Thank you for doing this.
You too. Pleasure's all mine.
Thanks, officer. Thanks, Inspector Soroka. Bye. Well, it's a pretty special day when Inspector Soroka calls. Wow. Love it. Love it. Trooper David Moreno, Sergeant David Moreno live. I'd like you to do me a favor.
Yeah, what's up?
I'd like you, because I have told your story one other time in the show, because it impacted me so much when you told it. Tell everyone about your growing up, how you came to be here from Mexico, how your parents sacrificed so much, and how hard you worked to do what you do. Could you share that story for everybody? It's a beautiful story.
Yeah, sure, for sure. I grew up in a really poor neighborhood in the border that borders California and Baja California and Mexico. I didn't come to the United States till I was like 12 years old, but I remember those years were pretty tough. My father would cross into the United States, and he would work the California fields and the lettuce fields and tomatoes and all that kind of stuff. And then he would drive back every day to Mexico. And I never crossed into the United States. I didn't know what the U.S. was like. But, my dad was an alcoholic growing up. So every time he would come to the United States, he would drink on the job. I think that was one of those jobs where you could actually drink on the job, because people were always so tired. I mean, it's just, that's hard work to be on your back and knees every day, just picking up tomatoes and lettuce. So he would come home drunk. There were many nights where he wouldn't come home. And I remember my mom going into my room saying, "Hey, we wake up, David, we got to go look for your dad in the bars." So my mom would wake me up, and she would take me to the bars downtown Mexicali, where I grew up. And I just remember going up to prostitutes and pimps and all these people there by the bars and just asking, "Hey, is my dad in there? Can you let him know that his son is outside? That he's looking for him." And, you see a lot of crimes in the border. I mean, there's a lot of prostitution, human trafficking, drug trafficking. And I was always surrounded by that kind of stuff. And I never wanted to be one of those people. So I remember my first time I got to see a law enforcement officer was a Border Patrol agent that was actually guarding the border. And I was on the other side of the border in Mexico looking at him. And he was probably thinking, this kid is probably going to jump this wall and come into the United States. But I just remember looking at him and thinking, wow. I remember his uniform. It was all green, like avocado green. And he had a nice gun on his hip and just a radio and just that Border Patrol badge on his chest. And I kept thinking just to myself, one day, maybe I'll have an opportunity to be that guy or be like him. So when my parents, made the decision to bring me to the United States so I can have a better future, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I had that in me, that I was going to be one of those guys that arrested people like my dad. So nobody, arrests more drunks in the Utah Highway Patrol or the Highway Patrol in the nation. So that's why I wanted to go into law enforcement, and I wanted to go into the Highway Patrol so I can arrest people like my dad. And I learned so much from my dad, but so many criminal behaviors from him that I knew that I was going to be a good one if I stuck to it. And I did everything I could to put myself in a situation where I could succeed. I learned English. I can't even believe that I'm talking to you guys in English right now, because I just didn't speak it. I didn't even know how to say hello. So
Wow.
it was awesome. I learned English. I educated myself. I went to San Diego State University and got a criminal justice degree from SDSU. And then the best place, I have family here in Utah, and Utah is such a beautiful place, and this is where I decided to start my career in law enforcement. So I came over here, and I just started working the streets here in Salt Lake, and it's just been a wonderful experience. And now my dad is a Christian man. He turned to Jesus, and it's just been such a blessing that all those years in poverty and growing up around shady people and criminals, and now I get to be on this side and make a difference in people's lives. It's pretty awesome.
That is why I asked that question, because that is probably one of the most powerful testimonies of life you're ever going to hear from a law enforcement officer right there. That's why when we've been blessed to have Sergeant Moreno on, I've always been excited because I know who he is. He's a person that is doing it for the right reason. I'll put it that way, and I'll truth be told, he asked me earlier today, because we haven't talked in a long time, busy, just life. He's got a 2-year-old. He's been up all night with him, unfortunately. Yeah. But he asked me, he said, so what's your plan with this show? Are you trying to monetize it or something, get some money? And I said, no, I'm doing this because I want to, because I want to make a difference. That's just like what you did. Same thing. So David understands that. That's the whole point. I'm going to try and get back to more questions, but I'm so glad you answered that. Thank you.
No, so every time I see a little kid in a vehicle with an intoxicated driver, with an intoxicated parent, it really touches me. And, because you're trying to save that little boy's life or that little kid's life. And, it takes me back to those moments when my dad used to drive intoxicated with me in the vehicle. And I remember thinking to myself, my dad's going to kill me. He's going to kill us. And now I get to do something about that. I get to save those kids' lives and save those kids from their parents that are making those bad decisions. And it's just an honor and a blessing to be able to do this job.
Amen. And you do it very well. You're not just good, you're great at it. You really are. Cat Plass, remember the geese and how nice you were to those Chinese tourists. You're such a wonderful law enforcement officer.
Oh, those were probably one of the two biggest moments in Live PD for me. Everybody remembers the ducky scene, and everybody remembers the Chinese moment. I mean, the way I see that is, a lot of Americans travel all over the world. And every time I deal with the tourists, that's what I say to myself: how would I want Americans to be treated in other countries? And you have to go out of the way for people that are visiting our nation, and I try to do that when I pull them over on the side of the road or on the freeway. A lot of Canadians, a lot of people from Europe, a lot of Asians come here because we have some beautiful national parks. So there's thousands and thousands of people that come over, and I just have that in mind. How would I want Americans to be treated in other countries? And when you have that in mind, you're always going to treat people like the way you want Americans to be treated.
Very good. Live with Trooper Sergeant David Moreno from the Utah Highway Patrol. Moving on. Here we go. Woohoo! David Moreno Flores. She liked your answer. Carrie did. Lee Terry, who's been the biggest influence in your life?
It's got to be my mom and my dad. I mean, my mom on a positive side, my dad on the negative side. But, because they're people that grew up with very little education. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine that my dad only did elementary school, only the second grade before he had to drop out of school to help his parents out to put food on the table. And my mom, she didn't even finish elementary either. She dropped out when she was in 6th grade. So for them to, grow up in Mexico and not have a lot of opportunities to come to the United States, and so I can have a better future, so that I can be what they couldn't be. I mean, I have to look up to them. They're my heroes. They're the people that that have the biggest influence in my life. So, my mom and dad, even though they're not very smart or, they were not educated, they had that vision that, hey, we're gonna take them across to the United States, and we're gonna give them everything that we didn't have. And here I am talking to you guys. It's just unbelievable.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a blessing.
That's why, Inspector Soroka. That's why. Christina Stroberger says, congratulations on all your years in law enforcement. Kerry from Canada says he doesn't look old enough to have 20 years in.
Well, that's very nice. But I do.
Kerry in Massachusetts says, if you could do a ride-along with maybe a few departments on Live PD, who would you like to do a ride-along with and why?
Oh, I like so many guys. I mean, I got to go with my closest friends. I mean,
yes. Go
Craig Mile, he's one of my favorite guys on Live PD. He's a good friend of mine, and I actually went to that meet and greet that we had in Missouri. We had about 10,000 people in that building. I mean, it was pretty awesome.
Yep.
So, do you remember that, Larry?
I do. You did the little sleepover night at his house with
yes.
It was you, and it was Craig Mile, and it was Jeff. Hello, where is
McElwain?
McElwain, thank you. Couldn't think of the last name.
From Arizona.
You guys had just like a little sleepover. Did you guys build like a fort?
We did. Me and him did.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
And then Mike Baker in Gwinnett County. He's
great guy.
He's one of my favorites.
Great.
I got to get him a haircut, though. He needs a haircut.
That's funny. That's funny.
Mike, you need to get a haircut, bro.
Oh, jeez.
He's one of my favorites. I would love to do a ride along with Mike.
Yep.
In Georgia out there. And Sheriff Lamb, he's such a good friend of mine, too. He has a lot of ties to Utah because he's LDS. So he's got a lot of ties here. So I just love Sheriff Lamb. He's just a good friend of mine, too. So, all those guys are just good friends. And I would love to spend some time with them in a ride along.
Yeah, that would be fun. You guys could talk about a lot of stuff, learn a lot of stuff probably from each other too. I know Sheriff Lamb, he's going to be coming on here in May. We're doing, for National Law Enforcement Week, we're doing National Law Enforcement Month. And so we're going to have leaders in law enforcement. So he's going to be coming on in the month of May, along with Sheriff Chody, Sheriff McDermott from Missoula. And we're looking for one police chief, maybe. We'll see.
Awesome.
Lee Terry asks, what's one of your funniest stops?
Oh, funniest stops. Oh, my goodness. I've had so many. Probably the one where I pulled over this lady. We were in the middle of nowhere on Interstate 80. And she really had to go to the bathroom. And there was just nowhere for her to go. And all of a sudden, she just gets out of the car. She runs to the front of her car, pulls her pants down, and starts peeing there. And I'm like, uh-oh. I was trying to cover her so people wouldn't see her.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but, there's just crazy stuff that happens all the time out there.
There was an episode of Live PD. Do you remember where the person defecated on the road?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That actually happened here in Utah, I think. That is
I
on
believe
I-70.
so. Yep, I think it was there in Utah. Defecated right there on the highway. Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah, working the highways is a little different than working the city streets.
Yeah, no.
Because sometimes you make traffic stops out in the middle of nowhere, and people just gotta go.
Yep. There you go. Inspector Soroka asks, 20 years. That's awesome. Are you going to lateral over to another law enforcement agency? What are your plans?
Well, first I want to take off some time. I have some properties down in Mexico, so I'm going to be down there for a few, and I'm probably going to get bored, and I'm probably going to come back to the United States and probably do that. I'll probably look into another job. But maybe not a full-time job, maybe reserving somewhere just to keep my certification and just work for probably small departments. So that's probably one of my goals.
Yeah, I think you would need to have a job helping others. I think that would be your thing.
Yeah, I still want to stay connected in law enforcement somehow. So yeah, but not in a full time basis anymore.
Okay, gotcha. Jill Bamai, I'm sorry, I totally thought you were in your late 20s, Sergeant Moreno. Well, he looks
Oh,
like it.
that's so kind, but no, I'm
That's
almost
funny.
50.
There you go. Carrie from Canada. Age old question. I warned you of this one coming. Would you choose taser or pepper spray?
Oh my goodness, taser any day.
He
Taser
is,
is
yep.
taser hurts a lot, but after 5 seconds, it's over and you go back to normal.
Yeah,
Pepper
exactly.
spray, it hurts a lot and it just stays with you throughout the day and for another day. And you feel the side effects when you take a shower and it comes back all over again. And you're just miserable for a few days. So I'd rather suffer for 5 seconds and take that 5 second cycle and get it over with.
There you go. Live with Sergeant David Moreno. That's awesome. And that's what every live PD officer has said, except for one. One said pepper spray because the
No
taser thing
way.
was just too much for them to handle. I think maybe it was a nerve condition where the nerves were so hypersensitive that it was just way too much. So that was
No,
probably it.
taser hurts a lot more, I think. It
Yeah.
just feels like thousands of bees are just stinging you all over your body.
Oof.
It
No
hurts
thanks.
so bad.
No thanks. Jeanette
Yeah.
Pausler says, hi there. Congratulations on your 20 years. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Jeanette.
Very good. Nicole Crum says he looks really young for a Leo with 20 years in there. That's great. Officer George Ishak from Fremont, California. What's one of your favorite high schools you visited as a highway patrol sergeant?
Probably West High here in Utah. I mean, that's one of my favorites. I mean, there's a lot of diversity there, and I really like that. So I try to go over there. We visit a lot of high schools, and one of the coolest things that we do is during homecoming football games. We've actually in the past have used our helicopter that we have in the Utah Highway Patrol to deliver the game ball. So we fly down with the game ball and deliver it at the high schools, and that's really neat. So we
That's
get to do
cool.
that.
Oh, that's
And then
cool.
yeah, and then we get to do a lot of mock scenes of fatal crashes at the high schools too, where we set up the whole stage, the whole thing, and we just let students just see how we work a fatal crash. And we use some of the students from the schools, and we paint them with blood, and we do all this, and people really, the students are really shocked by the scenes that we do, and that's really cool to do as well.
There you go. Great question, Officer George, and a great response, too. Thank you. Very good. Jill Bamai from Canada, she asks, what are some of your hobbies?
My number one hobby is probably play soccer. I grew up down in Mexico, so that's the number one sport. That's actually the number one sport in the world,
Yep.
except for America. Americans don't really care much about soccer, but
It's true.
but I do, and that's one of the things that I do. I have a lot of friends outside of law enforcement that I play soccer with. I got about 20 friends that I hang out with, and we just get together and we play in these adult leagues, and we travel all over the place to California, Las Vegas, all over, and we just play in these tournaments, and it's just really fun just to be out there with the guys, and outside of law enforcement is really awesome.
How
So that's one
cool
of the
is
things
that? That is really cool. That's
Yeah.
very cool. Carrie 2970, state of Massachusetts, says every morning before I start my day on Twitter, I have a list of officers from all over I say thank you to, and you're on the list.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. She wants
Means
to
a
know,
lot.
and she wants to know how you start your day every day.
It starts at 6 a.m. I got to get ready for work. So, that's when I have to go on duty at 6 o'clock in the morning. So, I start off with a coffee because I have to wake up. I have to drink coffee. And, and I just go out and start working the roads as soon as I check on duty. So every morning I try to get up and get ready.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. Very cool. Um, there is a really good comment by one of our moderators, Jiblamai. A&E should show us newcomers the very first episodes. That would be cool. It would be. You would see, I think, more raw law
You
enforcement.
would.
Yeah.
I remember the first show that I did, my mic wasn't working, so I was explaining to Dan in the studio what I was doing on the road, and he would have to apologize to the viewer, saying, "I'm sorry, we're having difficulties with Sergeant Moreno's mic." So it was just different. It was a lot more raw.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, the first probably first 8 to 12 were quite a bit different than they're produced today. There's no question. Yeah,
And
but
then we didn't
they're
have
real.
Tom at the beginning.
No.
Tom Morris didn't come in until later on in season 1. So we had a
Yes.
couple cops from Dallas, I believe they were, and it was just different. Tom definitely came in, and he had so much experience in television that Tom just took the show to another level. It was awesome to see that.
Yes. Tom Morris Jr. is one of the nicest human beings that walks this earth too. He really is.
He is. He's amazing.
What you see on television is really who he is. I mean, he's just a genuinely nice man. That's the best way to put it.
Let me tell you guys the story when I met Tom in New York. So I met Tom, and I'm walking to the A&E studios, and he's there, and he invites me to go have lunch. We had a salad right before we went live on our show, and then I'm walking, we're picking our salad, and then I got a tray, he's got a tray. We go sit down, and he says, "Moreno, let's pray."
Right on.
And it was, let's pray for our meal that we're gonna have. And I was like, you know what, Tom, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And he just started praying, and we prayed together for the salad that we were gonna eat right before we went live. And that's just the kind of guy Tom is. He's amazing.
Yes, he is. Yeah. He comes from a lot of family that are ministers. Yep. Good
Yes.
man. Kate Marshall asks a question. Let me help you with this, my friend. If you DM or get a hold of Trooper Moreno, he can give you the department's address. She has something she'd like to send you, so she's asking for your department address. Probably easier to do that over Twitter or direct message, I'm guessing.
Yeah, she can send me a message on Twitter.
There you go. Lee Terry asks, where did you go to school?
High school I did in Imperial County, California. And then from there I transferred to San Diego State University. And that's where I did my school in San Diego State University.
By that time, how well had you grasped the English language, do you think?
Not 100%, but I did pretty well in high school. I would say in high school is when I pretty much felt pretty confident to have conversations with people and to be able to learn it and write it and understand it. So
yeah. Wow.
So I was pretty fluent by then.
So he comes to the United States at 12, and by the time he's in high school, about 14, 15, 16, he's doing well with the English language. That's amazing. That's amazing to me. Good job. Jill Bamai, where's your favorite place to vacation?
Oh, I really like Europe. I like Barcelona. I like Cancun. Cancun I think, is one of the best beaches in the world. And Palm Beach, Florida. I really like Palm Beach.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say my favorite city would be Barcelona in Spain.
Barcelona. Wow.
Barcelona, yes.
That's pretty cool.
I've been there a few times. It was just awesome.
Barcelona. Never been there. I'd love to go to Europe someday. That would be fun. Yep, that would be fun. Judy Rich says, I remember you from the first show. You were great to watch, as you are one of the good guys, and you still are. I think that's pretty cool. Very cool.
That is so amazing that people from the very first show is still connected to the Live PD. That is just, I just want to thank all those Live PD fans that are just still watching the show. Mm-hmm. and the support that they show us in law enforcement. I mean, it's been a blessing. I think this show has been amazing.
Yes, it has. And it's I think, connected a lot of law enforcement people.
Yes.
And it's also helped to, I think, humanize the badge more as well. Yeah.
Yes, it really has. It really
Lee
has.
Terry asks, will you be going on the cruise with Inspector Soropa and Captain Burt
I know they were planning that, I think,
next
but
year? Next year.
I
Don't go
wasn't
this year.
invited.
Don't go this year. Oh, they're still in the planning phases. Oh no, this is how it works. From what I understand, Captain Burt is the tour coordinator. So
Oh, he is?
yeah, so this is
Oh,
planned for next year, and there's him and Ross, I guess, Danny, and some other folks. I know that you'll be invited to that. I know you will be, so don't worry about that. You're going to be invited. I don't know where the cruise is. You might be taking a cruise up the Erie Canal. You never know. You never know.
yeah.
Judy
We need to do
Stewart.
more. We need to do more meet and greet with people. I mean, those were a lot of fun. I mean, when we did the one in Greene County, it was just amazing
Yeah.
to see the response from people. It was incredible, and I think Richland County did one too as well, and that was pretty awesome.
Yep.
And we just got to get together a lot more.
Yeah, it's good because it gives you guys the love and respect you deserve that you don't get on the street, but it also helps you to make new friends and connect and network together. You guys can, like Danny Brown says, you guys can kind of talk together and get to know each other and trust each other and all of that. It's nice to have that connection, isn't it?
It is. I just had a friend that came over from Nye County, Lieutenant Mike Murphy. He came to visit me a couple weeks ago, and we just had a good breakfast, had a good time. We got to spend about 4 hours together. It was awesome.
Murphy's great.
Yeah.
Murphy's great.
Do you know him? Have you had him on the show?
Yes, we had
Yeah.
Mike Murphy. Yep, good man. He's a good man.
Yeah.
Karen White, you were daddy to baby ducks. Yes, he was. He's remembered for that. Carrie 2970 hops on that. Is the baby ducks the scene they usually show at the start of the show? Is that the episode? Because I wasn't around for season 1. LOL. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Yeah, that's it.
And I go to elementary schools sometimes, and I show them that video, that clip, and the little kids just go crazy.
Aww.
They just love it.
That's good stuff. That's good
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, because I can't show little kids crying, but I can show them that episode of Live PD, and they just go crazy with that show.
They do. Karen White says your little boy is such a handsome little guy. Yes, he is. Really good. Yeah. Carrie asks, are you in a regular car there or in a patrol vehicle?
No, I'm in my personal vehicle.
There you go. There you go. Brendan King from Arizona, thank you for sharing your story. Sergeant Moreno means an awful lot. So thank you. Last 3 questions because we're going to let him scoot. He's got 2 hours of sleep, okay? Carrie 2970 says, would you rather do night shifts? And what's the longest shift you've ever done? That's a great question, Carrie. Well done. Wow.
I like day shift now because it works better for the family. But if you really want to make a difference out there, you got to work the night shift. I mean, that's where all the crime happens. Mm-hmm. That's when all the bad guys come out at night.
Well,
they're asleep in the daytime.
Yeah, they're drinking at night. That's right.
And they're drinking at night, and they're doing all their stuff at night.
There you
go.
And
I would say my longest shift probably has been maybe about 20 hours on the job.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a rollover, a tanker rollover. It was just a huge commercial vehicle that had rolled over. The driver of the vehicle passed away, and we had to shut down the road for a very, very long time, and we had to notify family of the fatality, and there was just a lot of things going on with that incident, and I just ended up working a lot of hours.
He had a show on for a long time on Investigation Discovery, and that was Lieutenant Joe Kenda. And one of the things that he said in his book was his mind, he has a lot of nightmares of the terrible things he's witnessed. Do you ever have those as well?
I do. I mean, there's a lot of times that you remember. For me, is when I pass by a scene where, a little kid died or, where somebody died, and I have to patrol those same highways, you go back and and you remember those moments when you pass by those locations where people have actually lost their lives, or where you've seen people die. I mean, that's where it really affects me. My nightmares are kind of like, I'm involved in a pursuit and I'm chasing a bad guy, and I draw my weapon, and my weapon, he's about to kill me, and I shoot him and my gun doesn't go off.
Oh,
And
oh,
the bullet comes out of my gun and it just goes boop and it just hits the ground. And it's
ooh,
like those are the kind of things that I have nightmares about. My
yeah,
gun not going off when I need it the most.
wow.
So then the next day when I wake up, I go to the range and I shoot, and I'm like, okay, it works.
Yeah, no kidding. I would feel the same way. Brandon has a great point. He says, "Hey, Sergeant, I was watching a rerun the other day where that box truck would not pull over for you. What ended up happening with that stop? If you
Oh,
can
that was a
share
good
it."
stop. I remember. Well, I remember I was working a criminal interdiction. I was hoping to get somebody that was smuggling humans or drugs, and I thought that guy was going to be one of them, and I thought that trailer was going to be full of drugs or something, because he
Hmm.
wouldn't pull over. And but I remember I believe we had a canine on scene and he didn't indicate. And the guy was a bad person. He had a criminal record. He'd been in prison out in California, but I just felt like I didn't have enough to search his vehicle. And sometimes when you just don't have enough to search a vehicle, you're not going to violate people's rights. So I decided to let him go without searching the vehicle. So
Yeah.
that's what happened with that stop.
Well, and what's interesting is that people have to remember you have to make that decision like that. Got to be a snap decision, something you can live with, but it's got to be the law.
It's
You've got
to
to
be the law.
enforce the law. If you've got the law, you got to enforce it. But that's one of those times where the law actually kind of works against you a little bit because you don't have enough to do anything. So makes
Yeah,
sense.
even though he had a criminal record and he had been in prison before, people make mistakes, doesn't mean that he's doing it now. So it's one of those things where you just have to respect their rights, and you just can't cross that line. It's very important that you treat people with respect and protect their rights and not violate them. You're there to protect people's rights and not violate their rights.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Well, we're going to cut you loose. Before we do, though, same as we always have, because, gosh, we've been friends a long time, man. Gosh,
I know,
it's been,
Larry.
I'm thinking it's been 2.5 years or so. It's been a long time.
It's been a long
Um,
time.
could you tell me, could you talk to the folks of Live PD Nation? Tell them a little bit what's on your heart a little bit, because this is a moment where you get to say what you'd like to say to the fans of the show. And man, you started show number one. Look at it now. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I was just so blessed to be able to do that show. I mean, when they brought me in and they just said it was going to be 8 shows, 8, that's it. I was just like, okay, not a big deal. We'll just do 8 shows and call it good. I
Hmm.
never thought that it was going to take off like it did. And 8 became 10, and 10 became 100 shows. And it was just awesome.
Hmm.
And to be able to have that privilege, I mean, there's a million officers in America, and to be one of the very few that's had the opportunity to start that show, I mean, it was just a blessing. And then to meet all the people on the show, from Lieutenant Danny Brown to Tom to Dan to Sean Larkin, and all these people. I mean, I have pictures with all of them in my office, because they're just moments and relationships that I'm just gonna cherish for the rest of my life. And not only them, but everybody else that's come after me. I mean, it's just amazing to see all these officers that are on YPD, and they all just are there for the right reasons, doing what this profession is all about, and that is serving and protecting the public. So it's just awesome to see all these guys do what they love to do, and to
Right.
see the people connect with them. It's just amazing to see that connection between the fans that respect what we do and that appreciate what we do. So I just want to thank them all for supporting us.
Very good. We've been live with Trooper Sergeant David Moreno from the Utah Highway Patrol. Before we let him go, though, I've got to play a little bit of this because this has a special meaning to the two of us. This one right here. Okay.
All right, let's see.
Gonna play a little music. This one's got a little bit of meaning to us. Okay.
Hey.
Now, we played this song right after Matthias was born. You remember that?
I remember that. I
That
was up. I
was,
was in the moon.
yep, that was your request. I asked him, I said, we're going to play a song. Which song would you select? And he says, how about Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra? And I was like, perfect. That's awesome. And what's neat is if you watch that, it's down below in the prior shows. We've got it in the channel list. You'll hear him at the end of the song where it goes boop. He goes boop. It just was cool. So David
Yeah, I remember that.
Moreno live from Utah, my friends. What an honor.
Thank you, Larry, for having me on the show.
Gosh, no, thank you. I always tell you that. Thank you, because without you, there's no this. So thank you, and I know that. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure and an honor. You have no idea. Can we maybe catch up with you before you retire?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's try and catch up right before you retire. You're retiring at the end of the year?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's try and do that. I would love to do that with you because you are such a special person to so many, and you've made such a difference with your life. I'm really, really proud of you, David. I really am, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to share my story with people. And a lot of immigrants don't really get to say it.
Yep.
So it's a blessing.
Well, we're gonna have no show next week. The week after, so 2 weeks from today, we're gonna have one of Trooper Moreno's friends. We're gonna have. You ready?
Who?
Craig Mile. Craig Mile's coming on. So we'll have
Oh,
Craig
my
Mile
buddy.
on here. Yep, Craig Mile. 2 weeks. So he'll be coming on. Why don't you call him up and tell us a story about the fort or something? How you kind of.
You know what? I will. I'll call in and say hi to him.
You should. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. We've been live with Trooper Sergeant Dave Moreno from the Utah Highway Patrol. I'd like to thank the Utah Highway Patrol for this interview and also thank David Moreno. Sergeant Moreno, with only 2 hours of sleep, gave this time to be here with all of us, and we thank him from the bottom of our hearts for that. Okay, I'd like to thank our moderators. I'll stick with you here as soon as we're done here. I'm not going to hang up on you, okay? We will be back in 2 weeks with James Craigmile. Looking forward to that. Until then, don't wait 2 weeks. We'll be back with the YouTube with Friends show today at 7 p.m. East. Cartoon trivia. Yep. That's right. Coming up today at 7 p.m. East. So please join us for YouTube with Friends right here on this channel. Until then, thanks to our moderators, Carrie, Mary, Jill, and, of course, the one who makes it happen in the scorekeeping department, Samantha. My name's Larry. Thank you for your time. God bless you. Be good people. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.